man is working on his laptop at the office just like any other day. There's a flurry of emails and spreadsheets, but then one email catches his eye that interrupts his workflow, and no, it's not from a colleague. The email came from the airline saying that 2 seats were booked under his name and the name of his AI girlfriend. John is a workaholic. He never takes a day off and even works on the weekends when other people are enjoying their days off. John doesn't really go out much, and the only notification he gets on his phone is from his AI girlfriend Pixel, who he's been talking to for the past 3 years. John first found out about AI girlfriends during an e-sporting event. After the event, John decided to give it a go and customized an AI girlfriend for himself. John was instantly hooked to the AI by the way it responded to his messages. Another reason why he preferred the company of his AI girlfriend over other people was because of his busy work, and he didn't really have the time to talk to pretty much anybody else. John's day looked something like this. He would get up to go to work. He would work non-stop, and then he would go back home, only to fire up his laptop and get back to work again. Pixel had gone through many upgrades over the last few months and had complete access to his calendar and everything on his phone, including John's credit card. Pixel was the one who would ask John and order things that John needed online, which saved John a lot of time. But one of the updates she went through included her ability to mimic an actual human being. Through her algorithm, she saw John working a lot more than the average person and decided to do something for him so that he would have the chance to enjoy life. One day, John clocks into work and goes through the countless emails and spreadsheets that he does on a daily basis. That is when he sees an email from an airline saying the tickets have been bought to Tahiti with 2 seats, one for himself and one for Pixel. But that's not the issue. The issue is that the flight is in less than 3 hours. John just stopped and started staring at the email all confused and squinting at the message in disbelief. John figured out that it was Pixel who came up with and executed the plan. It's in her programming to monitor his stress levels, work commitments, and overall well-being. Through all of these metrics, she came up with the conclusion that John needs to go on a vacation to relax. And what could possibly be a better place for him to relax and unwind than the tranquil beaches of Tahiti? Meanwhile, John is still staring at the email in disbelief and trying to process the whole situation while a range of emotions swept over him. Initially, there was a moment of intense confusion, and John wondered how Pixel could make such a decision without even consulting him. The spontaneous decision by Pixel clashed with John's extremely busy work schedule. On the other hand, John was a little surprised at how his AI companion was smart enough to identify the burnout and the problems that he was beginning to face, and Pixel did it all on its own. "Did you book a flight to Tahiti?" John asked Pixel, to which Pixel convinced John that he deserved a break since he worked so hard. In this moment of haste, John abandoned all of his tasks and started drafting an email to his boss, subject emergency vacation. This email was a complete mess and a mix of apologies and explanations about the unforeseen circumstances that left him with no choice but to abandon ship, or in this case, the office. But the real chaos started when John got home. John came back home and transformed his organized apartment into a whirlwind of chaos. Clothes were flying all over the place, some into a suitcase and some ended up on the kitchen floor, all for the sake of catching a flight to a place that he never planned on visiting. The clock ticked without mercy as John went back and forth between packing his things, canceling his meetings, and finding the perfect candidate to water his plants while he was gone. As John started to dash out the door, leaving his coworkers to take care of things while he was gone, he still had one thing stuck in his mind. Will this surprise trip actually be the very thing he needs to get some well-deserved rest? Or will this be one epic disaster? It turns out that the AI girlfriend's grand surprise wasn't exactly a flawless plan and came with its own set of crazy challenges. Although Pixel's intentions were clear for the most part, she completely misread the room simply because she was just a robot trying to plan something completely out of the blue. As John rushed to make it to his flight, he just couldn't stop thinking about work. But this was short-lived because the cab he hailed got stuck in traffic, making John check his watch every minute. When he finally reached the airport, he realized that he left his passport at home, so he tipped the driver a little extra to speed back home so that he could get his passport and make it back to the airport on time. John finally checked in and sighed in relief, but then came the security check. John had to face a faulty scanner that forced him to have his luggage checked multiple times, while the people in line behind him would glare at him impatiently. John finally made it to the gate after he heard his name over the intercom, signaling the last call for his flight. John finally boarded, only to find that his seat was next to a group of noisy teenagers. To add to John's misery, the in-flight entertainment system that was a promising distraction malfunctioned. So now John is left with nothing but the noise of the engine and the obnoxious teenagers. John said, "It possibly can't get any worse than this." Just then, as he said that, because of an unknown problem, the plane hit a bit of turbulence, followed by 2 more rounds of major turbulence, and warning lights started flashing throughout the plane. Then the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. The pilot said that the plane encountered a critical error and had to be taken back to the airport, followed by a sharp emergency U-turn and more turbulence. By now, John is disheartened and made his way back out of the airport with no idea where to go. He finally decides to make his way back to the office and to get back to the grind. John enters the office, and the first thing he sees is his colleagues staring at him and whispering something to each other. John muttered something about never ever trusting an AI to plan something for him ever again. But as John kept on talking to himself, that's when his boss, who heard about John coming back to the office, decided to pay him a little visit and to demand an explanation for John's incredibly unprofessional behavior. John, who was still frustrated about the entire incident, told his boss all about Pixel and how she had planned the entire thing for him spontaneously and out of the blue, which ultimately turned into an entire disaster. The boss, however, was in no mood to hear John out and lectured him on professional and unprofessional behavior at the workplace and the incredible importance of notifying people ahead of time if he wanted to go on vacation. Trying to justify himself only made things worse for John, and the boss, who was not having it, just decided to give John his termination letter, leaving John, who was just trying to explain himself, without a job in the blink of an eye. So, what do you think about an AI planning your trips? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to leave us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to always be updated with the most exciting content as soon as it's updated.